Bitcoin has surged over 19% since the last low. Trump is still scheduled to speak at the Bitcoin conference. We are currently in this very interesting supply zone, but will Bitcoin continue to rise? Or will we see a larger retracement? In this video, I will analyze Bitcoin and share my price prediction for the future. Before we start with the content, join my free Telegram group where I share daily analyses on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all other cryptocurrencies. First link in the description. Since the latest news was that Donald Trump was shot and the Bitcoin price dipped for the first time, and after it was confirmed that Trump survived, the market pushed drastically. This is of course because Donald Trump is actively advocating for cryptocurrencies. Generally, you can see that mass adoption is progressing, because it's a very important topic right now. And I think that this news, also the incident with Donald Trump, in the medium term is definitely a bullish sign, and in the short term the market, as mentioned, is extremely stretched. On the weekly candles, you can clearly see that after this last move, just shot up here extremely. However, this formation is not a truly bearish sign, because we are from this, come down here into a lower high, and then into a lower low, which, as mentioned, a downward structure. However, it's also normal that after such an extreme pump, we actually see a correction, which is very good for the market in the long term. That's why I can imagine that soon we'll see rising prices again and maybe even a new all-time high in the future. I don't expect that we will go back into a bear market or something like that. On the daily chart, I find Bitcoin very interesting because if we look closely, we've been within this larger range since around March of this year and are moving within it. Between $73,000 and around $57,000. And lastly, we've just broken a local low here again, and also this last low at around $57,000, which is a rather bearish sign. However, we see after these lows, especially after seeing these extreme wicks, pulled up here with momentum, and that's a very bullish sign. In the last video I mentioned that we broke down here. Below these last lows, that I will buy my first tranche here. Of course I bought more here because, as I mentioned, we're still in a downward trend. This means there is a chance we could see even lower prices and, for example, test this order block here at around $51,000 to $53,000. It's still very realistic. However, in the medium and long term, I naturally see Bitcoin as much more bullish, and there's a high chance we'll simply rise again. How bullish power is showing here, especially if we now have this block. If we break up here, it would be an extremely bullish sign. Currently, this MA is around $58,000, and potentially, if we should get here again, this would be a potential support area from this. In fact, on the daily chart, we even crossed the 20-day moving average and all other levels. And as I said, this is a very bullish sign, meaning we could now shift to a midterm long position. However, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going straight up, breaking upwards in one go. But there's always a chance we see retracements and then gradually shift the trend upwards. We are currently in this supply zone, where we had the last high. That led to this deeper low point, meaning this supply zone is strong and the chances of us seeing a bearish reaction here are high. We're currently very high in this area, and there's also a chance we'll get above it, but that we'll see a downward reaction here will be very high, or at least the probability is there. And then I expect a move in. These already mentioned $58,000. Like I said, we have the IMA 200 on the daily timer. Time frame as potential support. Then we have this last low here, which was often tested, and we then go over this final resistance point. Broke through, and the chances of testing it again and then continue the move upwards. It's also given. If we then use the Fibonacci tool from this last swing, we can also see that the 0.5 Fibonacci is also located roughly in this area. And if we look at the liquidation heat map, we can see we have risen in price, and there are new long positions around $59,000 and $58,000. That means I could very well imagine that we could see $58,000 again in the short term. And if we look at the CMA futures chart, we can see that we still have a massive gap here, which goes down to $58. And as you can see in the past, we have very often these final always tested the gaps here. That means there's a good chance we could come down again, closing the gap completely and then leading the bullish trend upwards. That means in the medium term, I think we'll see higher prices, but in the short term, we could correct again. That means, in the best case, if we see another retracement to $58,000 and see bullish price action here, that would be the perfect moment to open a long position. Of course, it could also be that we correct even deeper and test these recent lows again. But as I said, I think we will hit 58. And if there's a reaction, like I said, it would be a very good entry point. Of course, it is also possible that, as I said, we just break upwards through here and see higher prices. But often it's the case when we have a strong upward implication trend here. see that we at least retrace halfway, and then continue in the bullish trend. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I wish you all the best of luck trading and see you in the next video.